Today's a great day to share the stage. Hello, gals, and welcome to Sober Living Snippets, where we do our best to live alcohol-free. What we actually do is learn how to live alcohol-free so we can look after our bodies, our relationships, our hearts, our minds, and our souls. I'm Becca Jacobson, and I have a very lovely snippet for you today. I recently spoke with a client named Anne. Lovely Anne. Anne joined me back in January. We've been on a journey together ever since, and I'm going to let her tell the story, not me. So here you have it, a conversation I recently had with Anne. Enjoy. Welcome, Anne. I'm so glad you decided to come and join me here on the Snippets. Thank you.
I'm very happy to be here, and I appreciate the invitation.
Awesome. So, Anne, I can't wait to start asking you some questions. You've been doing so amazing in my world that I'm really glad you're here. Before we get to the good stuff, though, and what you're doing now, I know life is very good. What was your life like before you found the show?
I would say that I was in a transition period over the last year because I retired in February of 2024. And for me, although I absolutely loved my career and found it incredibly fulfilling, it was also an emotionally draining career, especially really the years during COVID and after were particularly stressful. I worked with children, and it was a tough period for many of them and for their families. I also worked for a large healthcare system, which for those that are in it will definitely relate to the challenges that healthcare systems face these days. And so my work had become extremely stressful. And even prior to that, I was a single mom raising a daughter mostly on my own, off and on over the years. And so alcohol had become really a way for me to check out at the end of the day and to find some peace when things were overwhelming and there were just too many things to deal with. And it was a habit that served me for a long time, I think, but that ultimately, of course, wasn't good for my health. And although I was a functional drinker, I would say, in all ways, but it had become very compulsive and obsessional for me, that I just thought about it a lot and would plan for when and where and how. And once I was retired, I continued that routine. But,
Right.
the
routines. Excuses were gone. Wait a minute. I shouldn't be. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, but I like my routine. I've always been a person that really likes that. So I stuck with it, but became more aware that, for one thing, I didn't need it in the same way, but so couldn't even imagine stopping because it was just so much a part of my life. And I love to drink. So
wow. Those are two very, very strong statements you just said. I couldn't even imagine stopping, and I love to drink. Thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of the snippet lovers out there somehow think that those of us who quit were sort of drinkers light or not, and that's why I tell my story. Obsession is really the true word for it. And despite the fact that you're a professional and you're working and functioning, you love to drink and you couldn't imagine life without it. And yet here you are. We're going to hear where you are in a moment. I'm going to back up, Anne, typical of me here in Snippet Land. Forgot to ask you where you're from. So would you share with us where you're coming from?
Sure. I'm from the Boston area originally, and I'm here from Southeastern Mass.
Southeastern Mass. Awesome. Spring has sprung and everyone's feeling joyous. That's great. So tell me something. So you get to this point, you can't imagine quitting, you love drinking, but you're concerned, right? You've got concerns brewing. So in what way did you seek out help? What areas? I know you found the podcast. What else were you doing, and how did you find me? Tell us that story, please.
Well, probably over the last, I'd say maybe also 4 years. And again, I'll sort of trace it to after the COVID changes started to lift. I began to think about needing to moderate my drinking. And I don't know how many of us start with this idea that
good old moderation.
Yeah. Oh, come on. If you could moderate, you wouldn't be thinking about it 24/7. So I think that
exactly.
And yeah, it was something, I guess, for me, I had to learn that it wasn't possible. And then I also quit for 2 months one summer. I don't even remember when, made no other changes at all, didn't do any of the work that I've come to understand through your program and through you is needed, which is funny given that I'm also a therapist. One would think I would know that. And of course, the rules don't apply to ourselves necessarily. Or
Yeah.
one of us thinks so. But yes, definitely for me. So, yeah, so had thought about it and even quit for a while and became aware that that wasn't working for me and that if I couldn't moderate and if I couldn't quit, then regardless of the amount I drank, I clearly had a problem.
Right. Yeah. Right. I love that. So I just took note of what you said. You said, I had to learn that moderation doesn't work.
Yes.
That's very interesting to me because I'm over here in Snippet Land and I'm like, I told you that already, but we have to learn it for ourselves. And I did too. But how many times do we have to learn it? Because I tried to moderate, I don't know, 1,000 times in 30 years. So, but we have to get to that point where we realize I can't do this. Isn't, when do we got to throw down the gauntlet? So you got to that point, thank God. And then you started, was it books, podcasts? What was your way, what did your plan? Okay, I need help. What's the plan?
Well, it's funny. I absolutely did not have a plan. And I feel like it's, blessing from the goddess or something because friends were chatting about, uh, what do we call it? Dry January. And my partner said, "Oh, let's do dry January." And I thought, "Oh, that sounds awful. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. We'll see." And he was really determined. And so I thought, "Oh, all right, I'll do it, but I'm going to hate it and it's not going to work." And then I just happened to be on Facebook and I saw your call out there for Juicy January and I loved it.
Right.
I thought that term was just great. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do it anyway, which I was mad about somewhat, if I'm going to do it anyway, then I might as well give this other thing a try. And maybe there'll be something helpful. And you were so upbeat about it. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And so I might as well enjoy a person who's talking about it because it probably won't work. So,
I love that. I forgot about that, Anne. So first of all, everybody, let's point out Anne was pouting. She admitted it, but that she described it. It was pouting. She said, I had to do it anyway. That's pouting. But she was, yeah. And I talk about pouting on the show, right? That emotional maturity that we really think we have, and there we are pouting. But anyway, I just had to tease you a little bit there. I totally forgot for a moment that you came in through Juicy January. So for the listeners, in case you don't know or you're new in Snippet Land, Juicy January is my version of dry January because at our age, who the hell wants to be dry anything, right? That's the theory. So yes, we go alcohol free, but we're definitely not dry in any areas. So Anne joins me in January 1st. What was that like? Let's talk about the Juicy January journey.
it was incredibly helpful. And I would say that moving directly from sort of the perky sell for me, which was, you made it sound optimistic. And I thought, right, well, I'll listen to this. But I was hooked very quickly for two reasons. One was that I very quickly realized that I had stagnated in my personal growth. It just sort of hit me squarely in the face like, wow, how is it possible that for all these years, you just kind of coasted? And I look back on it and think, well, I kind of had to. It's just where I was at that point in life. And how easy it is to lose track of the ways in which we need to challenge ourselves and the ways in which we need to really think about self-growth and being the best person that you could be. And
That's
that
amazing.
that journey was just, journaling, which again can be a bit of a hackney overused kind of, intervention that people talk about, but it was not. It was remarkable to sit down and really think about some of the ways in which, let's see, sort of repetitive thoughts and my own inability to face some of the difficult things that I had gone through in life had just crept up on me. And alcohol, sneaky alcohol, had completely convinced me that I didn't need to pay attention to those things and that I could just coast.
Wow. Amazing. That's amazing self-awareness. I love the fact that you didn't blame yourself. So I see you saying, well, I look back and I saw that there's no growth here. And you're a therapist and there's no growth. And instead of being down on yourself, you recognized it, stepped up. And I mean, that's just amazing. And you were one of the things about Juicy January is it's 31 days. We show up together every day. And me, I'm there every day for 31 days. And that's hard, but you were there. I saw
Yeah.
you there. And so what happened after Juicy January? Tell us the rest of the story.
Well, I have to think about kind of what was the order of things, but yes, we did meet. That was the other thing when I said, well, two things when you asked me kind of how did I come on board? And one was the daily meetings that you just referenced, which were incredibly important and were this kind of lifeline because the quitting process was really challenging for me and that frightened me a lot. Like I had a lot of physical symptoms and nothing life-threatening by any means. And it was very uncomfortable. And so being there every morning felt like, okay, this is a little scary, but I know Becca and her world know people that have done this and gotten through it. And so I'm going to hang in there. And the other people that joined, I so valued seeing their names on the morning sign-ins and knowing that there were others out there that were also, sort of buckling down and doing the work. And that carried me.
Yeah, that it was a powerful, powerful month. And there was a group of you women at the end of January. I invited all of you to stay with me, and it's April now, so obviously you took me up on that offer. So I know that on February 1st, when we all completed Juicy January, you signed up and you joined my 8-week perspectives experience. And what was that 2 months like for you?
It was also so helpful. Going through the exercises, well, being able to go through the exercises at our own pace, for one thing. So, kind of whipped through the first 2 weeks, and then I got to forgiving others and self-forgiveness. And
Wait a minute, let me slow down here. Right?
the stone wall there.
Yeah.
And, had this idea, I've had a lot of therapy in my life, have dealt with childhood trauma, blah, 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 and sort of discovered pockets of trauma slash areas of my life that I really needed to go back and work with. And you were so helpful to me in our coaching calls with figuring out a way to do that work and to do it with a fresh set of eyes, both from you and really from myself.
You stepped up though, Anne. I could see your determination. And one of the things I really admire about you is your humility. You're a therapist, you might need a therapist. You're a doctor, you need a doctor. You're a dentist, you need a dentist. Right? We can't do our own teeth. We can't. So, yeah. And I'm a coach and I have a coach. That's, so good for you for recognizing that. Not all professionals do, right? So I'm proud of you for that. So you did the 8 weeks, and what was the transformation like? And actually, talk more about when did you stop obsessing about alcohol? Like, what happened there?
Um, that is a good question. I would say it started to shift after that first month, during the second month. And I think the fact that there was work to do almost every day, and so that kind of process of just uncovering and learning new strategies and journaling, and also the other women that just had such a wonderful experience with the women that I've met on this journey, who it's so amazing to me that we come from all over the place and all different stages of life. And there's just this incredible feeling of caring and willingness to make mistakes, and nobody's, freaking out if they say, well, I had a drink or I really want to drink. What should I do? Help. Everybody just reaches out, and the group is just such a enveloping feeling.
Yeah, they are. You are. That group of women, the women who join me are amazing. And that includes women who will come in the future. It's just like there's a magnet or something. And I'm grateful every day. It's like, thank you for allowing me to turn on this microphone and share and put out challenges and teach master classes. And the women who need the help, the women who will benefit from this end up coming. It's magical, right? And that group, you group of women, I know you know who you are. You're hearing this. I know you're hearing this. We love you, Anne and I both. So, what happened after the 8 weeks?
So after the 8 weeks, you and I had our sort of checkout talk, finish up talk from the 8-week perspectives course. And it became clear to me too that you do a lot of work around keeping things fresh and adding in new material. And even the additions to the 8-week class that you were in the process of making as we were in the midst of it just held a lot of promise for me. And I love the idea of continuing to meet with the women that I had met during the Perspectives course. And so we are continuing to do that weekly.
We meet once a week while you're all doing the course. And at the end of the 8 weeks, women are just staying. I make them an offer to stay, and they're staying because when we start growing, look out, gals, there's a new addiction on the horizon, right? It's
true.
It's true. I know, right? So, Anne, tell us, what's one change you made during your time with me that you'd share with anyone struggling with alcohol?
Probably creating a safe space at home, which, can be an office or it could be a chair, because we all tended to share with each other where our places were during group that we were doing the work. And having that place, if I think of it in behavioral terms, it's like a little stimulus. You go in there and you think, oh, this is the place that I sit down and think about both what's changed and what still needs to change. And that is huge. To give yourself that time and space is a beautiful, beautiful gift.
Wow. Thank you. Because that's me nagging in snippet land. Do you have your sacred space? Are you doing your 5 minutes of self-care today? On and on I go. I want all snippet lovers to do that, even if you're drinking, because it starts something. So I love that stimulus, therapist language. Absolutely. We're like Pavlov's little dogs. We go into the space and we start feeling calmer. We start feeling better. We realize this is where I look after and love myself. Love that. That's the one thing, gals. You heard it here from Anne. Get your sacred space up if you don't have it yet. So, Anne, what would you say to anyone who's out there trying to decide if they should come and talk to me and get some help here in Snippet Land?
Just do it. Just do it. Again, give yourself the opportunity to find a more peaceful life.
Beautiful. I can't add anything to that. It's beautiful. And thank you so much for coming, doing a snippet length interview and sharing your journey. I'm glad you're in my world. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Wow, that was so much fun. Thanks again, Anne, for joining me. Listen, if Anne's story sparked something in you and you're like, hey, man, I want some of that. Like, I don't blame you. Life can be so amazing. And this truly can be the best chapter of our lives once we step up. So if my conversation with Anne sparked something in you, then I want you to be honest. How many times have you told yourself, I'll cut back, only to find yourself pouring another glass? How many times have you thought, I can do this, only to fail? The truth is that nothing changes until you decide it's time. If Anne's story hit home and you're tired of feeling stuck in this cycle, it's time we spoke. I offer free one-on-one calls where you can share your story, and together we'll create a personalized plan to finally break free. No pressure, just a conversation. But of course, I can only meet with so many women at a time, so go to the show notes of this particular episode, tap the link that says book your call with Becca. That's going to take you directly to my personal calendar where you can find a time before they're all gone. Let's get together and chat. This will be the decision that changes everything for you. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back tomorrow so we can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.